I'm Antonelli. Welcome to The Naked Bite. Today I'm going to share a really easy, simple pesto recipe with you. Pesto is all over the place. Typically you see it made with basil and pine nuts, and that's the traditional way, but you can truly make it with any kind of herb and any kind of nut, which makes it a really great way to use up herbs in the fridge and then, change up the flavor profiles a little bit. Today I'm going to do it with basil and mint and a little bit of toasted almonds. But what I want to do is I want to start with the olive oil in the bottom of the blender. And this helps get the blades spinning a little bit more easily. I also cut my pesto with a little bit of water too to keep it on the lighter side. So I have 3 cups of packed basil and mint taken off the stems. The mint is on the top, basil's on the bottom, doesn't really matter. And then I am going to add a couple of tablespoons actually of water, and that helps lighten it up a little bit, but it doesn't really affect the flavor. And here I have some toasted almonds. You can use any kind of nut you want. I use walnuts a lot of the time, almonds, pecans, definitely pine nuts, like I said, are very traditional. But I like them to be toasted because it adds, you don't want to do that. Never measure over what you're making, because if all of a sudden your almonds go renegade, they all jump into the blender and then you're stuck trying to fish them all out. It's a great trick with anything, especially if you're baking flour, that kind of thing. You never want to pour the flour into the measuring cup over your bowl. So about about a quarter of a cup of the toasted nuts. And then I add something a little bit different. Lemon juice is very traditional, but I like to add a little bit of lemon zest also. So I have what's called a microplane here. It is a really fine-toothed grater. Awesome for cheese and chocolate, and I use it for ginger and nutmeg as well, whole nutmeg. But lemon zest adds a whole lot of flavor to things without adding too much acidity. So it's great in salads, great on pasta, awesome in any kind of sauces, and it really just adds a nice, vibrant, citrusy flavor. So I'm also going to do a bit of the juice. Typically a regular sized lemon, a juicy lemon has 3 to 4 tablespoons of juice. So I'm going to take it and I'm just going to squeeze it into my hand with my fingers tight. I catch the seeds and let the juice fall through. This is kind of a fast way, a little bit on the messy side, but it's kind of fun to get messy with your food. And a little squeeze more. You can always add, you can never take away, of course. So I don't like my pesto to be too bright and citrusy, so I'm going to taste it and see how I go. Garlic is next. A lot of my recipes say like 1 to 2 large cloves of garlic. This is far beyond a large clove of garlic. This is like a monstrous clove of garlic. So I'm going to do just 1, whereas I would normally do 2 to 3 in this size pesto. I'm just going to do 1 for now. Remember, you can always add more. You can't take away. Freshly cracked pepper, a bit of Himalayan salt, and then usually you would add cheese, right? Well, I'm making this for a particular client tonight who actually doesn't eat a lot of cheese, and certainly no dairy, cow cheese. So what I'm going to use in place is something called nutritional yeast, and this is a byproduct of the molasses brewing process, and it has a very cheesy flavor. A lot of raw and vegan recipes use this in place of a Parmesan. And it has very high in B vitamins, and it's nice. I put it on salads, sprinkle it on pasta. I also put it on popcorn. It's amazing. I grew up with it on popcorn. You can also, of course, use regular Parmesan cheese if you like, or like a pecorino, something like that. You can also do this in a food processor or regular blender. Does not have to be a vitamin. Whoa! We started that on high. Word to the wise. Always check your settings. I always do this when I'm turned around. Okay, so we're all on low. There we go. Now you can puree this as much as you want and make it really, really smooth, or you can keep it a little on the chunkier side. Up to you. I'm going to be using it for a spread on sandwiches in the morning, and then probably on roasted veggies, so a little bit of texture is nice. And yeah, I'm gonna check that out. We're gonna grab a spoon and taste it to make sure we're on the right track. We of course can always add more of everything. Get a little bit of the crunch of the almonds. It's not totally pureed. It's really lemony. I put a little bit more lemon than I was intending, but I actually really like it. It balances the mint and the basil really well. And this is gonna be awesome on the sandwich that I use tomorrow. This is, of course, amazing on pasta, over the top of grilled meats or fish, roasted veggies. I do it often with fresh parsley, and oregano is really nice. You can always do a combination. I do it with dill, maybe some scallions. It's basically, you're just looking for herbs to be the base, and then you can add in all of your usual suspects and you know, get something that's very unique, and you can tailor it to whatever dish you're making. Also, a really great way to use up herbs that are going bad in your fridge, which I think you probably know what I'm talking about. Most people will buy a bunch of herbs, use a few little bits, and then the rest of it goes in the trash. Cilantro also is really amazing. So, for this recipe and more, go to thenakedbite.com, where you can eat healthy and inspired one naked bite at a time.